at the Misons World Heritage. The Group H located at the northwest of the Group B, C and D at the west of the Group E. Stretches a small hill near the Group J. The main sanctuary of H1 is open to the east. Anyway, there we have it. It's the inscription of the World Heritage. Misons relics. Why is it relics? Well, the history of Mison is actually, this is Indian Buddhism that has been transferred all across the far eastern section, and it is pretty interesting that this is quite like Angkor Wat but in a smaller scale of its and it was bombed to absolutely nothing during the Vietnam War of the American occupation here, or there was no occupation, but the struggle that carried on to bomb the entire place down to absolute relics now. Okay, the ruins of Misan Temple after all the devastation bombing that took place during the Vietnam War, which destroyed, it didn't even spare a single one of these structures that stood here for thousands of years. What a shame what man can do in the name of, I don't know, in the name of greed of the land, or in the name of the central power, or the power of a one minority group against another majority group, or a one majority group against another majority group. So, how indiscriminate can human be? How disastrous and destructive a human being can be. Huh? That's the web. A man did not weave the web of life. He merely had a chance to even construct a one strand of that web. And we are very good at destroying the life, but we're not good at constructing and preserving it. Here's an example of man's creation and man's destruction, and the man's creation, the beauty of man's creation, and the ugliness of the man's creation. The ordnance stand right next to a religious figure, which is totally dismantled because of his sheer determination to destroy anything that was culturally relevant to this nation. And during the war, particularly the Vietnam War, actually penetrated the entire fabric and the beauty of this entire complex, and it left what you see there, a crumbling relics, or the crumbling remnants of an ancient historical Buddhist site of Misan. Very sad that what human can achieve in a very small and a very short space of time, when it has taken over thousands of years to build and construct and create this amazing amount of art, knowledge, culture, spirit, way of life, and all of the things that exist in this room in pieces. And everything here has a meaning when it was created by the sculptor or the artist. But it had no meaning when the bombs start falling or falling over the landscape here. And it had there was no saving, since the entire country was bombed almost 10 times over. As much ordnance fell over in this country compared to the cumulative ordnance that fell on the entire earth during the World War I and II. Tears is what comes into my mind, or to my eyes, what really comes into my thought is that we as creatures on this planet are able to achieve so much good and at the same time so little. There's the proof of the World Heritage symbol here at Misan. You can only imagine what would have been like to have been made destroyed an entire way of life. Look at these beautiful structures that come from an ancient times of civilization, the times of Buddhist way of life. The philosophy was introduced here from India, and it was run through right the way through Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, and here in Vietnam, Cambodia, Angkor Wat to Bora Bora. And all these nations have built temples and structures in a similar fashion, and they're beautiful and they're powerful and they're peaceful. The breeze in the air are fresh now. I cannot just imagine how it would have been like when those massive bombs were falling over here and every inch of this land was bombarded in a fashion that was designed just to destroy everything along its path. Why? Why do we do that? Please don't ask me. Ask the people who were forced to do this. It wasn't done through their own will. It was done because of selfish greed and other means. Nature. See, a worm, an earthworm has been attacked by all the ants and is still alive and have been drawn or dragged along to try and take it to their little, oh my goodness, the pieces are being broken down from that worm. That's what you call the living matter. Living matter on this earth has a great balance. Everything has a purpose and a reason, and I'm being bitten. Oh. Beautiful. Very sad. Very sad indeed.
新年でしたね。で、お坊さんと王様はお祭りがあった時、ここに入って、お祈りしました。で、門は東。
This is Shiva stone. It's a small temple. It's beautiful. Look at this structure. Very sad, right? Ancient history destroyed, are crumbling, and we fast forward at a rate, unable to think where we're going to end. This is what's left of that ancient civilization and history of this nation, and nation history long before many of us ever thought. These great history lost, civilization broken, a life lost, an ancient architecture completely in ruins. Words cannot describe the amount of destruction, and the amount of destruction force of man, the human. When are we going to learn? When are we going to respect? When are we going to learn and respect and regard for one another? When? It's extremely painful to see some very powerful monuments that are standing here, just like Angkor Wat or Bora Bora in Indonesia and Angkor Wat in Cambodia. A lost civilization, a lost culture, a lost religious artifacts, relics where the foreign man arrived at this land and destroyed everything that was constructed and built here in this nation to nothing, and left these standing relics because of its strength and its power and its spirit the people who built this had, and all those ordnance, when they fell, could not penetrate into the fabric or the solid foundation it actually built on thousands of years ago. And it's so sad. Defaced statues, and these are beliefs and belief processes and religious, more than a religion, it's a philosophy of life that was fabrically imprinted onto the facade of this building and to the buildings around here. And to see that we have destroyed that fabric and the very essence of life is very painful. Here is a statue standing, defaced, dismantled, broken totally, and all these relics, all these features of statues and artifacts that were created for a purpose with certain beliefs by the artist or the historically preserved way of life was totally removed from this land. And this is an altar standing here just can't describe as to what people can do to history and art and religious and philosophical beliefs of such a devastating power. But is this truly human? Are these people human? Yes, they are, but they have been captured through motivations, through difficult, not able to understand why, and why they were sent out to a foreign land to defeat. And these bullet holes, these are point of shooting at a wall. It's just unreal, just resonating the amount of death and destruction that was caused here. It's not true. This is not true element of human beings. This is a force that was imposed by a elite, very few who are greedy and uneducated in aspect, to destroy a culture and a way of life. Very sad. And we're carrying on to do this every single day around the world. And we'll continue to make it even faster, the process of destruction. And that cannot happen. That cannot continue to happen. And that cannot continue to be the way of life going forward for the humanity. Why? Why are we doing this? Why cannot we understand and pause and reflect ourselves to try and save what we've got? Paddy farming. For how long is this going to last? We've got some melon on the other side. Beautiful.